So far, all of the models that we've made have basically been really nice statues. Once you start talking about animating a character, you need to think about the modeling a little bit differently. So, right now, all of my geometry is pretty evenly spaced, which means that when it deforms, it will deform in an even fashion. There are areas that I don't want to deform evenly, where I want to build a crease into the model as the deformation happens, and those are the jointed areas. So the hip, the knee, the ankle, and the ball of the foot. For each of those, it's going to be really important that I have just a little bit of extra geometry to work with. And in order to do that, the easiest way is to go into Edge mode, double-click an edge loop, and in my Shift right-click menu, I'm going to run a command called Bevel Edge. Bevel Edge will generate two loops where the initial loop I had selected was. In the floating option box, I can put in another segment, so now I've got 3 edges, which is probably perfect. This fraction value will let me try to space them out to make them smoother, or make them a little tighter to make them more creased. I'm going to repeat that process for the knee. So again, I will double-click the edge loop, Shift right-click Bevel Edge, put in a couple of segments, and then adjust my fraction. Then I'll do the ankle, Bevel Edge, adjust my segments, and as needed, adjust the fraction. The ball of my foot looks like it hasn't really been well defined. This is like a little bit before the ball, this is a little bit after. So I'm going to start with either multi-cut or insert edge loop and just put in a loop where I think the ball of the foot should be. A lot of students have an urge to skip the ball of the foot because, the knee, the ankle, the hip, those are joints that you're really familiar with, that you think about when you think about a skeleton. At this point in the foot, you probably think about the toes. The ball of the foot is the thing that allows us to wiggle the toes. It is 100% necessary. We absolutely need it. Do not skimp on the ball of the foot. So I'm going to put this edge loop in, and then I will go right ahead, Shift right-click, bevel. No, I don't think I need that additional segment there, do I? Maybe I do. It depends on how creased I want this to be. I think I'll leave mine just like that. But I'm going to take another look at my knee because it looks like something weird happened when I made this bevel, and I'm getting this little crossy shape. These little crossy shapes can be nice sometimes because they prevent bending, but they can also be really nasty if you didn't intend them to be there. And in this case, I did not intend this to be there. So I'm going to take my old friend, the multi-cut tool, and in one mode, I'm going to click on this point here. Then I'll come over here, and then this point here, enter. Then I'll go into Edge Selection mode, press Q to move into the Select tool, take these two edges and delete them. No more little crossy bit. The knee gets really weird anyway. I'm going to take these two loops, give them a little bit of rotation so that they are just a bit more distributed evenly across the front and a little bit creasier across the back, which is good for a knee. Some character modelers will go even further, and in places like the knees and the elbows, they will take multi-cut and actually cut in a little diamond shape like this, so that they can ensure that the kneecap stays even. I might as well leave that here and just see how it works with this model. I don't always do it. I'm not a big fan of these diamond shapes because they can break edge flow. And now that I'm looking at this in one mode, I think that these two loops are too close together. So I might take this and move it down just a little bit. Okay. Now if I look at this in 3 mode, I can see that I'm already starting to get a little crease here, here, and here. If you don't like it, if it is too pronounced, you can go back in edge mode, double-click an edge loop, hold down Control and Delete, it's Command Delete on a Mac, and that will remove both the edge loop and its vertices. What you want is enough definition that you can maintain volume during a bend. If it's too much, it's too much. Now, unfortunately, some of this is stuff that you just won't know until you've done it a couple of times, so you might want to be a little flexible here. Try adding these edge loops, and later on when you're doing your skin bind, if you need to remove them, remember that it's Control or Command Delete. Once I'm ready and I'm all set to move forward, I can go ahead and I can shift right click, mirror, and that will give me the same geometry on both sides. The last thing that I will want to do is edit, delete by type, history, and at this point I am set to build my skeleton. So go ahead and see what you can do to stiffen up your joints. And again, that's the hip, the knee, the ankle, and the ball of the foot. I have ignored the heel and I have ignored the toes. We'll talk about those later. For now, it's just the hip, the knee, the ankle, and the ball of the foot.